Yikes. There's some bumpy roads. Okay, so according to GPS, I'm almost at the house. This looks so pretty. All these mature trees and natural grasses is what makes Fredericksburg so pretty this time of year especially. I wonder what the house is going to look like or what our space is going to look like.
Building a home is never easy, but what happens when you add in a global pandemic? With new obstacles and endless supply chain disruptions, can your dream home still become a reality? To prove what really is possible, we went to Fredericksburg, Texas, and teamed up with Tyler O'Brien of Agave Custom Homes and built a craftsman-style farmhouse in Hill Country. Then we called on 8 design teams from around the country to turn these empty rooms into a haven that's peaceful, productive, and party-ready. Stay tuned to learn all their tricks of the trade, from when to splurge to how to get creative in the face of inevitable constraints. No matter your own style, you're bound to find a new idea for every room in your house. I'm your host, Carisha Swanson with House Beautiful, and this is Season 1 of Blank Slate. Today we're meeting designer Jean Liu. I assigned her the tasting room in Breezeway. Her inspiration comes from global travel and fashion, and her style is modern, edited, and comfortable. Let's go meet her. Hey, Jean.
Hey, Carisha.
Welcome to Fredericksburg.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, good to see you.
Good to see you too. It's so hot here. How was the drive from Dallas?
Other than the goats I just saw, great.
Let's get you inside.
All right,
it's hot out
good.
here.
Sounds good.
Yeah, the goats, the rams, the sheep, we cannot figure
They're
out what
actually
they
pretty
are.
cute if you don't hit one.
My name is Jean Liu, and my design studio is Jean Liu Design. We would describe ourselves as an interior design studio that focuses on modern interiors. We definitely prefer our spaces to feel warm. We don't really want our spaces to feel like you're sitting in an art gallery. Our room assignment was originally the loft, and before we had a chance to decide how we were going to finish out the space, Carisha called me, professed her love for mezcal, and persuaded us to take this room and turn it into a tasting room.
You can totally see having a tasting party there with wine, mezcal, all the things.
Since we are in Fredericksburg, after all, wine country outside of Napa Valley.
Hey, Jean.
Oh, wow.
Welcome to your space.
Thank you.
So I know it's a lot to take
It
in,
is.
but kind of your first kind of gut designer instincts about this room.
I love the proportions. It feels pretty good. I've got lots of great walls to work with. I do think that because this is a loft space, we need to define how it's going to be used. And it seems like there could be several different ways to finish out the interior. Living in Dallas, Texas, people have the idea that Fredericksburg can be really rustic and casual. I love the idea of maybe bringing in a different twist and creating a more modern space that feels a little European in its sensibility. So I think that could be fun.
I've heard so often, Fredericksburg, rustic.
Yes.
Rustic, Fredericksburg.
Yes, definitely.
So maybe flip that on a dime. Yeah.
I mean, there's so many people coming to Fredericksburg that don't necessarily want rustic all the time. I think this could be interesting. I think this space could be a great way to incorporate AAPI designers, which are Asian American Pacific Islander designers doing great work in our community right now. There are a lot of artisans and makers that I think could really work well in this space. I'd like to try and do that.
I think that you've got some lofty goals.
Thank you. No pun intended.
No pun intended. So you need to bring your team in and get to it,
All right? No pressure.
No pressure. I am so looking forward to seeing your final space.
Thank you. Same. For the kitchen area, when we walked through it, we thought it would be great to have maybe a large scale piece of work right as you walk through the door. And then we really needed appliances to the max: wine fridge, dishwasher, as many refrigerated drawers as possible, and a very durable countertop. So for the tasting room, this might be a fun spot to really play up wanting to incorporate all of the Asian American designers doing great work in our community. I think it'd be fun to take an origami heart that I've been playing with a lot lately and have the upholstery look like the angles of the heart shape. Maybe it's modular, maybe the pieces can move around depending on what the seating arrangement is. And maybe instead of a rectangular rug, maybe it'd be fun to look at a different shape, maybe like a round rug. And then it might be fun if one piece of upholstery could be right under the bench, and then there could be another upholstered piece somewhere to sit opposite it. So if this was a space where you wanted to entertain or hang out with friends, you could actually have a conversation across the room because it's intimate enough. And I'd really like to consider wood paneling the wall. I know Tyler's got brick planned on one of the walls. I don't know how he's going to feel about us trying to nix that and adding wood. I'll have to call him, but fingers crossed he'll go for it.
Yeah, hey Jean, how are you?
Hey, so I was looking at the plans in that tasting, or the loft that we're going to try and do as a tasting room, and I see that you've got a brick wall planned for one of the elevations. Any way we could not do that brick wall and just maybe go back with wood paneling, and not just on that wall, but all throughout?
I'm not sure about that. I mean, in Texas, we like rock and brick and stone, and that's why I had that designed on the wall there.
We want to try and create a more sort of European vibe, maybe go a little more modern. And since you already have so much stone throughout the house, we thought maybe the wood paneling could be a nice way to give it a different feel.
I guess we could look at doing something or trying to do this.
Just trust me, okay?
I've got to go. I've got CrossFit, and we have a house to build, so I'll take a look at it, and we'll see what we can
All
do.
right, happy CrossFitting. Bye.
I think he was really set on having at least one of the walls in here be brick. I think I must have caught him on a good day. So when we started designing the room, I knew I really wanted to use this brand new design called Modern Dragon by Michael Chan. I loved the lines that moved through the entire rug, and I wanted it to be wool and silk construction. So when we started pricing that out, it got to be pretty cost prohibitive. A way to incorporate it into our room was to take the size down so it didn't break the bank, and that way I could still have this rug that was really essentially like a piece of art on the ground, still be an important part of my space. I think it would be so exciting to work with Kathleen, who is the manager of our company, but she also happens to be an old friend.
We're so excited you're here.
Oh, thanks.
We're
It's so
excited
good
to
to
work
see
with
you.
you on
Yeah.
this project.
So are we.
Tell me a little bit about what you're thinking for the room.
So we are actually working on the lounge, which we are redoing as a tasting room. So we envision this space to be a room where people can come and really enjoy the wines of Fredericksburg, but it is also a space where people who might prefer tequila and mezcal can do a little sipping and really getting to enjoy their downtime.
So what kind of color palette are you thinking? Are you going off of any one special piece?
You know, we always say that just like a house is built on a good foundation, a strong room is built on great floor coverings.
It's a big piece of real estate in the room. So I always think that I feel like that's important to start with because that is such a big component.
I would really like to try and incorporate as many Asian American designers into our space as possible. When we started thinking about the rug in the room, we went to the website and discovered this build your own rug feature, which we had a lot of fun with.
I think it would work really well with this design of Michael Chan's that I know he's going to be thrilled when he sees it. I think it's just going to be super fantastic. So I see you've pulled some pumps here that look like they would go with the build your own. I know we have some blending of colors.
So this I love. Could we use this as the ground color?
I think that would be
the
fantastic.
main color.
Yeah.
Okay. I was hoping to create a little more contrast by bringing in a darker tone. You know how much I love black.
I know, and that will really make the rug pop.
Because this rug is so important to us, and I really view it as yet another piece of art on the ground, do you think that we could look at possibly doing some of it in silk, because I love the sheen that it'll have, just even if it's a tiny little
I think
touch.
that's a very smart idea. It gives it movement.
So we would do maybe these two.
We would do that
as
in the silk, right?
Okay.
I think that's a smart idea.
I think that what we're trying to do is make this room somewhat unexpected, and I was going to talk to you about your thoughts on making this rug round as opposed to rectangular. Is that crazy?
No, I think it's fantastic, and we can absolutely do that. The next step is to get the rendering done and then put the rug into production.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much for meeting with me.
Oh, well, thank you for coming in.
We can't wait. This is going to be a dream come true for us.
It's going to be beautiful.
I think there's a misnomer or misconception out there that rugs ought to be inexpensive because you walk on them or they spend their lives on the ground. But in this particular case, this rug was very important to how we viewed the space. It really was the foundation of the design. It was viewed as a piece of art from the very beginning. And I think that this is an incredibly good buy if you feel like this is something that will over time continue to represent your personality and your sensibility and your aesthetic. That for us is a smart splurge. The installation process has been pretty challenging. We've done show houses before, so we feel like we have some experience with some of the pitfalls and the day of issues we're gonna run into, but this one just seemed like we had all the odds stacked against us. We were on a super tight schedule to get all of this done. It's been a challenge. I'm, definitely pleased that we've made it, but there are times when I was ready to pull my hair out. One of the special features of this room is an additional wine cabinet that we were able to design and build offsite. It served a multitude of purposes for our team.
When we first came in here, this was a closet designated for a washer and dryer. Since we had decided we were going to use it as a tasting room, we felt like we might be a little short on wine storage, so we decided to create a custom wine cabinet. Here you can see we've done it with a burgundy colored leather and these brass dowels, and we felt like this was an interesting way to store wine. This wine cabinet could be made with fabric, it could be made with wooden dowels, it could be made with acrylic dowels, whatever materials that work for you. But in this case, we felt like brass and leather were beautiful details for us. And what we like is also if you decided that this room did need to go back to having a washer and dryer, this is built in like a piece of furniture and it literally just comes out. Nothing's been nailed, nothing's been tacked in place as a permanent fixture. That is our creative solution.
Jean is the local designer from Texas that I gave originally the loft space in the secondary area of the house. After thinking about it and seeing the floor plan, I realized I wanted her to do something with that breezeway too. Little did I know there were 10,000 spiders hanging out in there. They're humongous. In any case, she came up with a great idea to make that an outdoor dining area, really designating that space as not just being a cut through from the garage to the kitchen or from the main house to the secondary wing, made it a space that actually has purpose in a way that we hadn't thought of it before.
So for the breezeway, when we saw the space, I envisioned maybe a outdoor dining table, maybe a bench on one side. That wall is so long, we've got to treat it somehow, maybe with a piece of art or maybe a living wall. And then definitely the space needs to have a rug because we feel strongly that all spaces are grounded with a rug that feels appropriate with the scale and size of the furniture. We were lucky enough to use a Philip Jeffries wall covering called Elysian Fields, and it's a mural wallpaper and it comes in 12 panels. So that made it really a wonderful option for us because we wanted to treat this outdoor space very much like you would treat an indoor space where every inch of it is considered.
So this is the breezeway for our space here at Blank Slate. And one of the brilliant hacks that we wanted to incorporate is this framed series of a mural, which is a continuous landscape with different motifs throughout. We felt like it was a great way to treat a large volume of space. If you don't have a lot of money, but you've got a lot of wall you have to cover, getting a wallpaper pattern that resonates with you, whether it's a mural or a large scale pattern, works really well. In this particular case, we got it mounted, and we decided to play with the framing just to give it a little bit more interest, especially in this particular space. We chose to play with these triangular shapes. That was really keying off of this leaf bamboo motif that we used for our fabrics. We decided to choose an interesting frame shape, which was actually made on a CNC machine, and we lacquered it pink just to give it a little pop.
Jean's a great designer to work with because Jean knows exactly what she wants. Her plans are very detailed. She has a style that really reflects well with her personality. Very calming, very chill, very relaxed. And if you meet Jean, that's kind of her presence. I don't think she's ever been worked up about something, or at least you can't see in her personality because she's so calming and has one tone in her voice. So she was a joy to work with because even if she's mad, you wouldn't know it. With me, you're gonna know if I'm mad because I'm gonna drop a lot of F-bombs and probably yell at you on the phone.
Getting to see the space all finished is pretty amazing. Despite all of the challenges that we had leading up to the installation and during it, I think that it has forced us to be better designers. We had to problem solve on the fly. We had to think of creative solutions. We had to really lean into what were important elements that we were gonna fight to keep as part of our room. So that I think has made us better, even though it might have been painful earlier. And I think that for us being able to see all of these AAPI designers in one space is really heartening for me personally. It proves to me that they are doing important work, a huge part of our community, and should be celebrated in the way that I hope I have done here.
All right, Krisha, so before we go to the tasting room, I was going to try and show you this breezeway and see what you thought about it.
You know, since I assigned this to you like 2 seconds ago.
Yes, like 1 second ago,
like
really.
1 second ago. I think this is fantastic
Thank
though,
you.
because I was just like, when I saw the schematics for this house, I realized that this was this dead space.
Yes.
And it's just, why? None of us has any room
No, we don't
to
have
leave
any
square
room.
footage empty.
Yes, totally agreed.
Yeah.
This ended up being a really fun way for our studio to think about how to use this space, and so we wanted to give it purpose like we have tried to give the tasting room purpose.
Sure.
So we've decided to use this as an outdoor dining area, and we've decided to give it a great sense of arrival with this Sutherland outdoor table and this wonderful outdoor rug by Fiberworks. And because it is an outdoor rug, it is perfect for the elements out here.
Sure, right.
We wanted to give it a fun moment with this board and batten wall, and so we decided to use this mural by Philip Jeffries as well and finish it off with a wonderful lighting fixture.
I think that's great. I didn't know what you were going to do out here. I just figured you're the designer. You'll come up with something
we would
brilliant.
figure it out, right?
And you did.
So thank you. It was really fun to work on.
So now we need to move from this area.
Yes.
We can come back here and have like dinner later if we want to,
Sounds
because under
great.
the stars.
Yes.
But for now, let's go inside
All
and see
right.
the room you were originally assigned.
Can't wait to show it to you. Well, hello. Welcome to my entertaining kitchenette.
I love this. This color is everything.
Oh, thanks. We love it too.
So tell me how you got here.
We have been dying to use this particular tile for, I would say, years, and I knew I wanted to work it in somehow. We knew we also wanted to use this dark paneling. So this color on the walls, which is Farrow and Ball Sulking Room Pink, was the perfect shade to kind of tie all of these things together.
I think it's so fantastic. It's
Oh,
bold,
thanks.
but in a
Yeah.
way that's not like too much, right?
Bold, just enough.
Just enough
Okay.
boldness. I can see here that you have packed a lot into a
have.
very small
have.
amount of space.
So-
Tell me what needed to happen here
Sure.
to make this work as your entertaining kitchenette.
Well, first, I knew I needed a countertop that would be extremely durable for everything that was going to go on in here, whether we're cutting limes, serving drinks, spilling wine. So Caesar stone was the natural solution for that part. And then I really wanted to have a moment where I'm bringing in this black touch.
Yeah.
And we have this wonderful gooseneck sink with the LK composite sink that is extremely durable as
Yeah.
well. From there, we needed to have all of our appliances be extremely functional. So we're lucky enough to have a signature kitchen suite dishwasher here, and that allowed us not to have to run dishes and glasses back and forth to the main house.
Nobody can handle that anyway.
No.
You can't be drinking and running back and forth across your breezeway.
Sounds like an accident waiting to happen.
Totally.
So that was really a godsend. And then
Here we have 2 convertible drawers. They run independently of each other.
So refrigeration drawers?
Yes, refrigeration
nice.
drawers.
Okay.
And you can set them at 5 different temperatures. So it allows you to use one as a pantry if you need it, another one for refrigeration if you've got to store something cold.
Or frosé.
Or frosé.
All
Of course,
day.
frosé all day. So anyway, this is I think key to making this a successful space.
Yeah.
And then because we maybe don't want the world to know what a wino we are, there's this wonderful wine fridge off to the corner that's got a hidden panel. And it too is by Signature Kitchen Suite and has probably over 100 bottle capacity within it.
I love that. So nobody actually knows when they walk in here that you have wine
Exactly.
in there. It's just another little cabinet.
Just another cabinet. Who knows what's behind it? So.
I think that's fantastic. The fact that you could squeeze all of this in here and add so
Yes.
much function
Yes.
before you go into the actual
Exactly.
tasting room. All right, so I'm ready for it.
Okay.
Lead the way.
All right. And last but not least, welcome to our tasting room, aka the Mezcaleria.
This is fantastic.
Thank
I
you.
really did not know what you were going to do. This
Okay.
feels like a really complicated layout with so many entrances and doorways
Yes.
and exits.
So
you really had to think about spatial planning here. Yeah.
This was a space that really came together for us in the last few weeks.
Yeah.
We actually had some challenges working with the doorway here, working with the doorway there. So really when we got to floor plan and looked at the furniture layout, we realized we wanted to preserve views outside, and so we wanted the seating to be up against the walls and have this pathway clear.
Well, I have to say, you know, when I first gave you the floor plan,
Yes.
it said loft.
It did say loft.
It said loft, and you were like, I'm a Texas lady.
Yes.
Texans want tasting rooms.
Oh, definitely. There's never enough room to store, enjoy all of your alcoholic beverages.
So that's where you were saying that, like, you wanted a room to have a purpose.
Yes.
That you gave it a purpose
Yes.
of,
Thank you.
you know, booze.
Sure.
And some wine.
Yes.
And some delicacies.
It's very cultured. Anything can be enjoyed here.
Yes,
So,
exactly. Aside from a room with a purpose,
Yes.
you also mentioned that you wanted to bring something other than rustic
Yes,
to Fredericksburg
for sure.
as a representation of not just this town, but also of Texas.
we definitely feel like there are sophisticated people coming to Fredericksburg, and even if
Not to mention
they-
you and I,
Oh,
obviously. Yes.
Of course. Even if they wanted a change of scenery and feel like they're more in a countryside with mature trees and beautiful landscape, they may want their interiors to feel just as modern and sophisticated as their city home. So
Sure.
we definitely tried to take that approach for our space here.
So when you thought about modern here, tell me
Yes.
some of the things you hit on that you knew would make that happen.
Definitely really preserving all the clean lines, very simple wood paneling with very little trim detail. Taking the ceiling, bringing the ceiling down even more by stopping the wood paneling 3/4 of the way up and using Ferro and Ball paint to finish off the ceiling and giving it a high gloss to really bring some light into the room, because otherwise with these dark panels it could feel sort of cave-like, and
Sure.
that wasn't the intention.
Yeah.
We wanted the drama, but not necessarily the darkness to go with it. Trying to intentionally incorporate modern art into the space sets the tone easily. Using very simple color palette in here that's restrained also gives it a modern feeling.
When I think about a tasting room, I think most of us think table in the middle,
Yep.
couple of chairs around.
Yep.
Because of all these entry points, you had to create something really dynamic here with furniture
Sure.
and kind of spread us out a little bit more.
Yes. So this table allows for us to have numerous people sitting around, whether we're tasting alcohol, playing cards, reading a book. Even the person on the sectional sofa can enjoy and be part of that particular seating
Sure.
arrangement. For the layout, there are definitely multiple seating arrangements that allow you to use this space in a variety of ways.
Also, this rug
Oh.
is so special, and you'd
rug.
mentioned wanting to make sure that you paid attention to AAPI.
I did,
you know,
yeah.
and that the makers that are involved.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about how you incorporated that in.
The rug is pretty special. This was probably the jumping off point for us, and so this is Michael Chan for the rug company. We chose all of the colors around all of the color palette for the rest of the room.
Sure.
Then we went on and incorporated artists that are all Asian American designers. Wendy Chen, who's been a great supporter of our work, she sent me those beautiful handmade knots. There's Sam Lee, who's a wonderful ceramicist, so her things are sitting on the table over there alongside a lamp by Stellar Works. These 3 pieces of art behind us, in fact, are all Asian American designers.
So you feel like you've managed it all, you hit it all. You
Yes.
even took it in stride when I handed you,
Thank you.
called you up and said, can you do the breezeway too? I feel like this could be a really cool moment.
And I hung up the phone. I'm like,
You're like, let me think about it, Carisha.
I did. And I took every minute, didn't I,
You
to think
did
about
take
it.
every minute to think about it.
But I'm glad I did it. It ended up being a wonderful and fun space to do as well.
Yeah, I have to
So.
say, I think it's time maybe for you pick wine, mezcal, tequila, beer.
Mezcal, of course. I didn't have to think about that. Cheers.
Cheers.
Happy. Blank slate?
Everything. I know you were
good,
gonna
huh?
take it as a shot.
I really did it.
Working with Jean was so easy. Jean comes like 10 deep. Like, I mean, she has like a crew with her wherever she goes. Like, I've never seen a designer with like a squad, but she has a squad. So she knew what her plan was from the beginning. Listen, none of these designers have time this year. So they were all having to make time to be part of this project. And she made it happen, and her space is without a doubt spectacular. And I'm not saying that because I'm biased, because I love a cocktail in a room meant for cocktails. Jean wins best props because my entire team loved when she showed up with multiple bottles of mezcal for her final walkthrough.